Much stutter. Yes, groups concluded. It is time for the quarterfinal. Only 2 best-of-3s today, the winners of which will get to play in front of that home crowd over at the Oracle Arena in Oakland. The flights are tonight, and whether they'll be happy or sad on them is yet to be determined. 2 best-of-3s, and I've got 2 of my best buddies. I've got myself, Chad Birchall and Janko Paunovic. Gents, you're looking all dressed up. It's the quarterfinals. I don't know, the top button's nearly done up, Chad. That's what I'm saying.
You know I keep it cash, Alex. You know I set the bar really low.
You're a perfect combo because you kind of, you've got the yin and yang, the sugar and the spice.
I like Chad's approach. It's like low expectations, no disappointments, right?
Yeah, okay. Well, whilst that may be true for the fashion, it's not true for the results for some of these teams. I mean, let's kind of start off the quarterfinal day by reflecting upon who we haven't got here. Because, I mean, we started our journey for the first day of group stages by outlining, we had the biggest names in Counter-Strike present. Not all of them are here for the third day. Janko.
Yeah, Astralis and G2 probably the 2 biggest names that you won't see in the playoffs at all. Of course, a little caveat with Astralis, the fact that Device was a bit late because of his illness, so Zonic had to play in that first game against NIP, and they lost that one. And then the first game Device played against Cloud9, another loss for Astralis, and in the end that cost them, promotion to the playoffs. Absolutely. But for G2, you really feel bad for them. They played super well in some of their losses, but for them in the end it probably comes down to that game versus Renegades where they were manhandled more or less, and that's something that they are probably going to feel very disappointed about.
You could say the same thing about Renegades in their overtime loss to Liquid, right? Off to a blistering start, and then they let that one slip away. But over those 2 grueling group stage days, right, we had 30 games, 5 of which going into overtime. That's 811 rounds. And then when we got to the final matches of each day, that last round was still open. There was still, I'm going to have a little asterisk here, Mongols was the only team out of all of the teams who couldn't make the top 3 and potentially make it to the playoffs when we had the last round of groups taking place, which is absolutely insane. You think about that, right? We had 2 whole days of groups, so many games, and it wasn't clear-cut at all.
Not clear-cut at all. One of the things that was clear-cut, though, was one result in particular. I mean, we have FaZe Clan coming into this one looking near untouchable, unscathed after the first day of group play. Then they come into the second, and Gambit throw down the gauntlet. I mean, we have some highlights to run through, but, I mean, this was a victory that no one saw coming, Chad.
I think Carrigan, he maybe have predicted it himself or either put doubt in his mind, right? He said in an interview that he always seems to struggle or they have a rough time against Gambit, and that was definitely the case here. Getting mowed down on Mirage by the resurgence of Hobbit. He's been looking hot, especially yesterday, on fire.
And we always talk about these matchups in Counter-Strike, right? How you really feel comfortable against some teams and uncomfortable against others. And FaZe does struggle against Gambit. Gambit knocked them out in DreamHack Masters Malmo. Then FaZe barely managed to beat them at Epicenter. And you see here they were handed a convincing loss on one of their best maps. So definitely something they need to look towards in the playoffs if they meet again.
16-3. You don't see FaZe losing 16-3 to anybody apart from these Gambit boys, and we will be seeing more from them. They did manage to secure themselves a spot in these quarterfinals. We're going to be seeing Gambit play today. Not first though, and I want to kind of navigate towards the North American discussion because there is a North American team rocking and rolling so far through the group stages. Now Cloud9 as a team seemed like a bit of an enigma for us here at this panel. We couldn't quite seem to grasp how or what they were capable of.
Yeah, in recent times they've been looking good, right? And especially with Tarek as the in-game leader, surprising all of us. They've actually had a pretty good approach to the game. Yeah. Sure, it's a bit more sporadic. Sure, it's more based around the stars. But they had 2 huge victories throughout the group stage, taking down Astralis with ease on train and then seemingly doing the same thing to SK, right? And those kind of victories are huge to get them out of that group, get them in a chance to make it to that arena on Saturday.
So watching out for Cloud9 on train is a lesson Group A learned. We can bring it up. I mean, this is how they place. And look at the names present as well. You'll notice NIP, top of the group. No one saw that back. No one saw that coming. Cloud9 beating SK and Astralis on train. No one saw that coming, but the 9 points are there. I mean, that's quite a fantastic performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Raz, the highest rated player of the tournament. Yeah. NIP as a team playing really well. And for Cloud9, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that quarterfinal game versus Gambit. Gambit's a team known that can potentially even play all 7 maps. So do they just veto Train? And does Cloud9 have enough depth in a best of 3 if they can't play Train to progress into the semifinals?
Fantastic question. We'll be finding out the answer to it today. NIP, though, don't even have to be here today. They are living life in luxury. They can have a day of rest. I just saw Draken coming back as I left. He's just been at the gym. He's obviously having a nice kind of quiet day watching the games of Counter-Strike and prepping.
Maybe they could go where I wanted, which was Universal Studios, but someone who was out of this world was Rez. He just had a fantastic performance, especially with the entry frags on that Cobblestone match that they had early on in the group stage. Look, we can say it time and time again, the first match they had against Astralis when Zonic was standing in was a victory that they had to take, and they definitely did. That was Draken in that game who got a lot done, but once the rest of the tournament kicked off, this man right here, he was the star for NIP. He was the guy leading the charge. He was getting a lot done. And you know, if we were talking about like a Cold Zero or something like that with the ratings and the performance that he was putting up, you know, we would be praising them through the roof. So we definitely have to give Rez, you know, all the praise for his... A raise. Let's do that too.
Give Rez a raise.
Yes, maybe Rez is the magic behind the resurrection of NIP. Oh. They do look fantastic. Top of the table, straight away over to Oakland. They'll be playing in the Oracle Arena, so if you're an NIP fan, get your booty there. And then I think you can't help but wonder, NIP, top of the table semi-finals, Astralis the other side of it. I mean, they came close, right? Man. I mean, I think we should just kind of, let's take a deep breath and take a slow walk through some of the highs and indeed most likely lows of Astralis' elimination. There was one game, but to be fair, a whole map that was pretty high octane. Chad.
That was some beautiful Counter-Strike,
Truly.
Right? When you have games like that, it doesn't even matter the context of the tournament. The fact that it was do or die for them really mattered for Astralis at this point. But the way that they played that game, the way that they got themselves back into it, and the way that it got into overtime was unreal. You don't see stuff like that. You don't even have words for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is where, you know, the fact that you have an entire room, you know, even the cameramen are starting to look at the screen when, you know, you see everyone like launching into celebration after what was an incredible round. I think we'll probably just break this one down then. Let's kind of take a look at the round first of all. We'll have a little look at the round we're referring to, and then we're going to break it down with our analysts over here at the Xfinity Analyst Desk.
Fall in with the AWP. It's Dupree instead that be the one to peek him with the AK. He's got to be so careful. I thought he might go on that. Check to long, although it doesn't actually get any vision. Just sticks the shoulder forth. And he's going to swing wide. Doing so, though, oh, I found Dupree. I was going to say he leaves himself exposed immediately to the close entrance from the bathrooms, but Dupree didn't elect to go that direction at all. Good read by Fallen. He'll get a rotation back his direction after playing solo in the site for so long. Smokes down, execution potential in. It's Fur that's up close. He won't quite hug the wall. He wants to be slightly more aggressive. That gives up his position, though, and that gives Glaive the kill. Important kill as well. Astralis are looking to try and force this into extra rounds, extra innings, and Chiari takes out Bolts. Fallen still lost in the smoke. Oh! Denying the plant. That's done it. Fallen's done it. There's no time to plant. Fallen's done it, but Cold, no, he hasn't. Cold has gone down. They just barely get the kill with 1 second left.
I mean, the headsets were off from Astralis. Like, that was like, oh, we've lost. Oh, never mind. No, never mind. Device got 2 as well. Not even the first. Like, damn, that's some scary Counter-Strike.
The thing is, if that was like, because there was so much confusion, you don't really get the tingles, right? But you watch it back now and you know the context of that and what it meant for them. It's an amazing round of Counter-Strike to just get pulled out of the back pocket from Device there, right? It's insane.
And not just Device. So it's multifaceted, isn't it, Yanka? The first thing that we're kind of all going to be impressed about is the fact that, well, nice little smoke execute from Astralis, but Fallen managing to kind of save the round almost.
How nice, actually, Alex. The smoke was missed in that execute. It didn't completely cover, you know, the bomb box and Optimus. So that creates, you know, because the execute came in with 20 seconds left, and you're like, oh, we missed the smoke. And then you have to worry about an extra angle. So you have to deal with that coming into the bomb side. They get the entry kills. And then in the last 10 seconds, it's complete chaos. Like, you look at it and everyone's confused. So imagine, like, if you're playing in that particular moment, the presence of mind you need to have if your Device and Fallen first realize the only way we win this round is if I kill the bomb planter, then they can't plant, we win on time. Then Device realizes we don't have time to plant the bomb. I have to somehow try and kill the guys, and that's the only way we can get into overtime, and it's what they managed to do.
Well, I mean, what we can do here is actually watch it in slow motion. You can kind of see the thought process that Yanko was referring to. The smoke, though, it is present, right? Or is there a missing smoke?
A little bit more to the right.
Yeah, there's a gap. It doesn't cover completely, like, between the box and the Optimus, right? So you can see there's
an angle to the plan.
You can see where Bolts was. He actually had an angle that should have been covered off. So they're getting the entry kills. That's all fine. You can still see Fallen, of course, in between 2 Molotovs. So this is a great execute, barring the miss smoke. But look at the time. It's like 10 seconds, 9. At this point, when he starts planting, Fallen also hears the sound cue. So he realizes, look, he's all alone. Like, his teammates are nowhere near to support him. And he just goes for a mad play, like pushing through the smoke, trying to kill the bomb planter.
Someone
and he manages to do so with 6 seconds left, basically. And here is where you would look towards cold and maybe think, just run, you know, but things are happening so fast. That's like, it's easy to say so in slow motion. And Device, you can see him just charging through, getting 2 kills with 1 clip of CZ, from a CZ, which is not as easy to do.
And 1 second left on the clock, right? If you just sit there, that whole round unfolding and looking at the time, it doesn't even feel like it's possible, right? It's 3 seconds when he gets that first kill and he has to chase and find Cold, who, you know, in hindsight, probably would have had a chance to get away.
But they also don't know where he is.
Exactly.
I mean, that's why he just stood in a corner. He could have been flanking, he could have been in bank already, right? So he just figured, it's 2 seconds left. I'm just gonna hold, and even if someone peeks me, I can still get the kill,
Sure.
right? But Device, not only does he look at the correct spot, he also gets the kill with just, you know, 6 or 5 bullets in the CZ.
And what I hadn't noticed before, that angle actually helped us out to see it, is Zipnix was turning away as Fallen jumped through that smoke. So Fallen's going for this heroic play. Zipnix would have seen him, but he just starts to turn away because he knows they're running out of time.
Also, he's worried about the flank potentially, right?
He's done
I can't believe it.
the classic Fallen combat AWP, right? Those are the miracle plays that he seems to pull out time and time again. The fact that he does that and they still go on to lose that round is insane.
Right, and what we can do now is actually, there is a bit more to it from outside of that round. Now, they were planting...
Yeah, another thing is, like, this is not the first time. This is like towards the, you can see it's the round number 27. So towards the very end of the game, Astralis actually plants in Optimus a couple of times. And that's not the only reason why Fallen, you know, it wasn't just the sound cue, which was, in my opinion, the main reason why he just peeked through it and looked that way. But they can see that a number of times Astralis had this tendency, when they would actually go for the A execute, they wouldn't plant default, they would plant in Optimus. And in the end, that's what probably helped Fallen a little bit to just know exactly where he needs to look to and make that play.
And we didn't get to see it on the broadcast. It wasn't, I mean, of course, when you got 10 seconds of observing, I'm not pointing any fingers, but we do have an opportunity to see it now. We can actually see Device's POV. Yanko's kind of set the scene perfectly. 1 clip of CZ to save the day with 1 second left.
And just look at the time. So he's behind the smoke. No reason for him to push or anything. Fallen gets a kill. He realizes we need to go for it and finds both kills. It's just mad. Like, the presence of mind that he has to realize, I need to go. Like, I mean, we all need to go. That includes me. And just, it's instant. Look at this. Like, from third person, he dies. Let's go. 4 bullets, 7 left in the clip. And
insane.
Gets 2 kills with 8.
We had the privilege of... Astralis was sitting right there. They were just behind that curtain, just behind the cameras.
That's true, yeah.
I could hear Dupree clearly yelling, like, kill them, go. Like, just, it was in English, the way he was yelling at that point, because there was so much chaos going on. But the fact of the matter is, to find that, that's luck for Cold Zero to be there, right? That's as much as it's an insane round, they were super lucky that the stars aligned.
Oh, pun totally intended. I saw your eyes widen. And
I
that's
like
nice. Yeah, it was. It was awesome to see. But at the end of the day, sexy Counter-Strike aside, Astralis did not make it through. And a big part of that was due to their unfortunate circumstances regarding their Star AWP device. And so I think anybody saying, you know, bringing to attention devices, perhaps his rating from the event or even Astralis' placing, I think there is a large asterisk by this for the Danes, right? That's the kind of the closing thought on that, Yanko.
Absolutely. I don't think, especially when you point towards Device's performance, the fact that he came late because of illness, then in that condition, straight from the plane, he gets an Uber to get here and sits and plays the game straight away. You know, that's probably the opposite from optimal playing conditions. So I think, unfortunately for Astralis and especially Device, this is one of those events that you just have to write off and, you know, like, you didn't have a proper chance to play it.
Yeah, just watch the games from wherever you are and kind of get better soon, I think is probably going to be the outstanding message from that. But we do have the boys who are indeed better than us. It is Henry G and Sadakist, and they are going to be guiding you through the first game. What are you thinking about this top 6?
Well, listen, first and foremost, let me just say that, you know, in the heat of the moment, Device pushing through kills Cold. I think that round should ever be known as the Device Cold round.
Oh, that's good. That's why he's the best. Broadcaster of the year.
Broadcaster of the year, I like to say myself. Listen, every single round mattered yesterday. The fact that it actually went to overtime for Astralis, look, you can look at the not having device, etc. That gave them 8 points as opposed to 9 if they'd won that round cleanly, which would have put a tiebreak situation. Envy going to winning against NIP would have caused tiebreaker. Everything's mattered. The last group stage I saw that actually was this close, I think, is all the way back to X Games in 2015.
Well, that is a throwback.
Yeah, everyone was 1-on-1 on day one. Every game the next day mattered. Whoever won was in, whoever lost was out. I think it's
pretty much exactly what we had yesterday. It's been incredible in that sense. But I think today our top 6 is looking awesome. I think the first game especially, SK looked way ahead on day 1, but well behind on day 2. So big day for them.
OpTic is still going to be dangerous, though. On their day, they're getting better and better. They've had a few up and down results, especially the iBuyPower tournament, but this event, they've actually been pretty decent. Knocking out G2 at an event like this, that's not easy. Majors Boy can turn up. If we can see Alu on top form, maybe they can give SK a run for their money. I'm excited for this one.
And flipped fortunes, because OpTic was slow on day 1, better on day 2, much more what we come to expect, I think, from the online performances. But Alex, good day ahead of us. I think we're going to be looking forward to both quarterfinals.
All right, actually, fair play. I'm a bit more hyped than I was originally. You know what? OpTic did do that fantastic stuff on Inferno to actually end the day. We got to see them picking up that victory. We've also got to talk about, SK, the fact that they went 0-2 on day 2. We didn't get to see them pick up a win on their battle for the group stages, but enough was done in day 1. In fact, why don't we go ahead and strap ourselves in, prepare for our first best of 3 of our 2 best of 3 day. Let's take a little look at what some of the players were saying ahead of their big quarterfinal match.
Of course, our main idea was to get the first place. As we had a perfect first day, we got 3 wins. On the second day, we faced Astralis, and we were very close to winning the match. But when you play Titans of CS, things can go so very fast. You are winning, and then sometimes they just get back to the game, and sometimes it happens for us as well. The 1v3 against NIP, this side on Cobblestone, I had to out-duel my opponents and make good movement behind the fountain on the area.
The plant comes through and it's up to Forrest to find 1 kill here to secure the round. He does that, and he gets the second. He can't quite, but they know exactly where Fallen is now.
Still play the angles as a flash. Forrest would have been on them sooner if not for the first flash. This one buys time. There's another so close, but resets the gun and takes down Draken as well.
Wow.
Every defeat, they teach you more than the winnings, because you talk more about the things you did in game, and you plan yourself better for the next time. We know that for the next match, it's a new start. Of course, our focus is to get out of the quarterfinals and play on the actual arena, because it's going to be sick.
SK is one of the best teams, so of course it's not the best opponent to have in a quarterfinal. But I mean, if we want to win this tournament, we have to beat the good teams anyway. So it really doesn't matter if we play them in the quarterfinal or in the semifinal or in the final. Last year I played them in the final when we won with NIP. So if we can beat them here again with OpTic this time, I would be super happy. During the game against G2 and even today earlier against Liquid, we had really good communication, and then we play well. It's as simple as that. We just need to hit our shots, and the communication is key. In the last round against G2, we took a timeout and we talked about what we could do. We saved 1 op on Alu, and he could only drop like a UMP, so we had really low money. So we said, all right, let's push mid, Emil getting the entry, and then they started to chase Emil, and Alu was just there with his op to refrag them. We won the round there when we traded that well in mid, so it was a good call to go aggressive on them instead of just sitting back, I think. Representing the green wall here now with all the American fans, it would be amazing to come up and yeah, be able to play in front of them.
His first team away from the Ninjas, now taking on the in-game leadership role as well. Freiburg is on your screens, and he maybe, just maybe, could do what he did with the Ninjas in Pajamas jersey here on the green wall. I mean, he could go ahead and pick up Oakland 2017 after Oakland 2016. It's all up for grabs.
Definitely an uphill battle going against the #1 team in the world of SK, though, Alex. I think, what we saw out of OpTic throughout that group stage was just a roller coaster. And, the reason I say that was they started 5-0 down in their first match versus Gambit and then won that game 16-7, and then throughout the majority of the matches it was just up and down. A 16-3 loss to FaZe, a 16-10 victory over Liquid, a 16-6 loss to Renegades, and then that 16-14 matchup on Overpass against G2 where we just saw that round where Alu and Magix, they got a bit of magic done to close it out.
I mean, Janka, what did you make of a Fallen statement? Is it just a kind of a cliched interview response when he says we learn more from our losses, our defeats?
Oh, absolutely not. It's 100% true, and when you think about it, it's fairly simple. When you win a game, you don't really look back and, oh, how did we win this round? How did we win that round? Especially when it comes to a tournament, the only thing that's important is that you win, no matter how.
Sure.
But if you lose a game, in the process, you are definitely going to reflect and look, okay, why did we lose? Was it just some, bad play individually? Did we have some bad calls and so forth? And then moving forward, you're going to make those small adjustments and most likely improve over the course of a tournament.
Okay. I mean, if you want to kind of explore SK's form currently, as I'm sure there's a lot of SK fans who are hoping to see them in the semi-finals. Are we very happy with the trajectory they're on now with the Bolts move?
Initially, yes. It's
But
just the type of Counter-Strike that I've seen out of them at this tournament. I hold them to the highest of standards, right? They're currently the #1 team in the world, and that's why this might seem a little bit too critical, but the fact of the matter is I expect a lot out of them. Now,
sure.
The way that they were playing on their T sides, they're using their skill, and I like that. I think, you know, Counter-Strike allows for that, but it just seemed like there wasn't a backup plan. It's been a long time since we've seen an SK that is very rigid with executes. You have to go back to like Luminosity days or Kaboom days where they had their breakout performances with those games like Mirage against Fnatic, I think is one that really sticks out for people. Now it's just loose, and they play that chemistry style. They play very reactive CS, and it's good to have because you can always adjust, but it seemed like they had a rough time in certain matches. There was poor decision-making on anti-ecos in that Cloud9 game. There's a lot of adjustments still happening now, and it's a weird place.
I think you have to be fair, though. They didn't have pretty much any time to practice with Bolts. Even before Epicenter, they just brought him in. After Epicenter, they went back to Brazil. They played the WESG qualifiers. They did that with Phelps, and then they flew in straight for this tournament. So I think they, to an extent, need to just rely on their skill more, right? Because they didn't have the time to practice perhaps some of those more structured plays. And also you can see the fact that, for example, Taco is moved to Yard on Train. That has a big impact. He does seem a little bit lost, which is, you know, again, understandable. He played inner for the entirety of his career in SK Gaming, and he will need time to adjust, and they will need time to adjust as a team. I even think it might probably even be better to just leave him inside, seeing as how some of their CT sides looked, but you know, it's a team decision.
Yeah, and I mean regarding Taco as well, he is the lowest rated player currently in the quarterfinals or semifinals. He's had a real rough time, and I think this is an interesting kind of note to make. Is he's never necessarily been the highest rated player. I mean, Fer and Fallen and everyone else, Coldzera will happily take that away from him, and he's not supposed to be.
He never will be.
He never will be.
You know, I don't think you ever need to, when you talk, especially about a player like Taco, looking at his stats, unless they are completely like abysmal over a course of a time. You know, he even, I bet he has more negative like KD games than he has positive ones. But as long as SK is winning and he's doing his part, both him and the team will be fine with that. He understands like his role within the team. He's the soldier, right? He has to do whatever needs to be done for guys like Fer, like Fallen, like Cold to be able to really flourish.
He's definitely got one of the, sorry, Alex, he's definitely got one of the best, you know, team mentalities that any player can have.
No, absolutely. And I mean, if you do have called Taco the soldier, Chad, what does that make Fer? I mean, when you look at his highlights, he's
the Terminator.
Is he the assassin, the Terminator? I mean, what are we calling this guy?
The Terminator.
I love the fact that yesterday, we praise him for CT side aggression and finding a lot of opening kills and information for this SK squad. But yesterday, time and time again, he was like the entry man on point, getting these opening frags, being very aggressive on the T side, and this comes into a more loose style that allows him to go for these kind of plays. I remember round after round, he was getting opening kills on Overpass on the T side versus Astralis, and he's just continuing to be very effective.
And also another thing is, I think it's been a while now, and I think I mentioned it a couple of times, but Fer's pistols, or his play in pistol rounds, has increased so much over the course of this year that he is one of the biggest factors to why SK is doing so well. Obviously, winning a pistol round and getting off to a good start means a lot for any team, and it's going to be another interesting dynamic with him and Magisk. On the other side of things, they have similar play styles, being very aggressive, especially when you look towards a map like Overpass that is potentially going to be played. That's where they are both like very aggressive around that mid/fountain area on the CT side.
And one of my favorite facts about Fer, that I don't know how often it is vocalized, is just his commitment to just official games. I don't know. I just think this is such a like a superstar swaggy attitude. He's like, actually, no. Anything outside of an official game, I'm not really keen on.
I love it because
so cool.
a lot of players psych themselves out in a sense that they are having a bad game and think, oh, now I need to like put 100 hours over the next 2 weeks and everything's going to be fine. That's the only reason. Well, first mentality is, I know I'm good. Like, I know my mechanics are strong. If I have a bad game, I just had a bad game, you know, nothing's going to change. Me putting 3 extra hours before the game on that match is maybe even going to do me more harm than good. So he has this mentality like every single time, which is the same. And I think that's really good. It probably like alleviates some pressure from him.
I can imagine. Certainly, just like there isn't always a remedy, and there isn't always a problem. It's just sometimes you have a good game, sometimes you have a bad game. Situations happen. We're basically talking about life now. We're not even just talking about Counter-Strike.
we're getting real
Yeah, we
deep.
got a bit too deep. Let's get ahead and get ourselves out of there. And instead, what we will do is start thinking about vetoes. We've left the best of ones. They're a thing of the past now after we've got out of our group stage. Best of threes. And this is where that veto discussion becomes a little bit more, it bears more fruit. So I'm going to kind of throw this to the wolves and see how this brainstorming session goes.
Well, there's only one map that SK are going to want to 100% avoid, and that's going to be Nuke, right?
Sure.
They're just going to get rid of that map. I don't think they're even going to worry if it's, a map OpTic plays or doesn't play. It's just that's the map they don't want to risk. So the other 6 maps in the pool are perfectly fine for SK. They have no issues against any team in the world, really. Occasionally we see these hiccups like yesterday versus Cloud9, but in terms of a matchup where SK is the heavy favorite, this is the problem you have, right? What map do you pick? Like, what are you feeling the most comfortable in? What is the general feeling in the camp? Are you picking towards their weaknesses? Are you picking towards your strengths? It looks like SK are happy to pick towards their strengths, even if it matches up against the opponents. Like, playing Envious on Cobblestone in the opener, that's a really good map for Envious. Playing Train against Cloud9, who are on some crazy streak, you're picking into their strengths, right? So I don't think they're going to have... I don't know what their strategy of veto is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, SK, of course, we saw what they're capable on Overpass. We also saw what OpTic were doing on Overpass. Alu saving the day that last round. We got to see that replay. But, I mean, they've looked very good on an abundance of maps.
True, and Overpass is probably going to be played in this series. But I agree with Chad. The problem for OpTic is what do you really pick? Probably you would want to maybe go towards something like an Inferno, especially when you consider that Alu is one of the best oppers actually on Inferno. It's just the fact that his range and his playstyle, he's really, really effective on that particular map. But it's not a map that OpTic, it's probably not even in their top 3 when you look at the most played maps. It's basically Train, Mirage, and Overpass, right? So if you're going to go to one of those 3 maps, where those are SK's 3 strongest maps probably at the moment. So that's where what Chad pointed out, the philosophy of, do you play a map that you're comfortable on, even though it's a great map for your opponent as well? Or do you throw a bit of a curveball and you go for somewhere where they're not at 100%? I think for OpTic, when you look at just the fact that they are the underdog, I really have a tough time seeing them beat SK on 2 out of the 3 of their best maps, right? I really do feel like they need to go for something like an Inferno, potentially a Cash,
Yeah,
but Cash is a bit, even lower than Inferno for them. So I think like Inferno for them, and then for SK, they can take their own pick based on what they consider a weakness perhaps for OpTic. They're definitely going to go for either Mirage, Overpass, or Train.
Okay. Well, I mean, OpTic have got a pretty good win rate on Train, but let's consider online results and the region they often compete within. We'll bring up the vetoes then, and we'll try and get your thoughts on them as they are revealed. You already said, Chad made it clear, Nuke was not going to be played by the Brazilians. OpTic's ban then. Cobblestone to go. Yanko's calling that one, and bye-bye Cobble. This is where things are going. You kind of suggest SK have an open path now. 5 maps to choose from, and they're happy on all of them.
I mean, probably Overpass, because if they were willing to pick it against FaZe, I mean, that was undefeated on that map on LAN at that point in time. They will probably do the same against OpTic. Seeing as how OpTic struggled against FaZe and had that close win against G2, that seems like a good pick. And it indeed is Overpass, and one thing that we have to note is you pick the map, your opponent gets to pick the side.
So they're getting that slight relief of starting over on the CT side, and you've nailed it as well. You guys said Inferno, and you look like map savants.
I don't feel that this is going to be as much of a weakness for SK as when they had Phelps. Obviously, we had the drama with Phelps and Fur over towards that B side. I would assume being told not to be aggressive in Banana because they were giving a lot of picks away, and then they just played Turtle, and that didn't work. Now with Bolts in the roster, it's back to Fur and Fallen at that B side, so I think it's a bit of a stronger map, especially on their CT side.
Yeah, and before we bring in the other ones, I just want to say, these guys demand they don't get told the maps. This doesn't always work out. They don't always look this clever, but they demand they don't know the maps, and so this is just working out quite nicely.
Yeah, this is where for SK now it's a bit interesting. Do you get rid of Cash here, and it's not one of OpTic's best maps, or do you get rid of Train because it's the most played map for OpTic, and you're struggling a little bit, if Taco doesn't have a good game on Yard, then the thing with Yard is it's not about just one player and okay, if he fails at his position, someone else can pick it up. No, it's like one unit all together. If you have a weak link somewhere, then the whole defense pretty much falls apart.
So, I mean, what is the ban then, Chad? If I pushed you,
I think it's going to be Cash, right?
Cash?
I think they're going to play towards Train. Maybe they just said they had a bad game yesterday on Train.
Oh, damn.
And then I think it's going to be probably the Mirage ban, right? If you were OpTic, you'd want to be leading towards your most played map. I would feel.
Yeah, probably at this point in time, you're also knowing how comfortable SK is with any iteration of their roster on Mirage, and especially Fur can really be a menace. And actually, Train is one of the maps where his impact is a little bit diminished. That's where usually Fallen really steps up with the AWP or Cold on that secondary op. So they indeed go for the Mirage ban, and we have Train as the decider.
I hate that I'm doing this because I should know the answer. Wasn't OpTic's result versus Gambit on Train?
Yes.
16-7.
So they
5-0 down, 16-7.
They did a huge kind of sweeping victory versus Gambit, who have been looking good at this tournament.
Yeah, it was Mixwell, I think, who had a really good performance.
And that's something that we also have to note. You know, the double op on OpTic is not too shabby with Alu and Mixwell. You know, Mixwell being regarded as the best operator in NA for a while, being Spanish. But this is, in the end, like what you need to do if you're OpTic, more or less, right? You don't have too many options. It's not going to be great no matter what, but that Inferno pick is what they had to go for, basically.
Okay, well, we have to go to our casters. We all know now OpTic are up against the ropes. It's SK Gaming, one of the best, if not the best, currently in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And the first map is Overpass. They've already shown what they're capable of. Let's head over to Henry G and Sadakis to see if OpTic can put up a fight.
Well, I'm excited, Henry. We've been waiting a while. We get to see OpTic in this server.
Yeah, we haven't actually been able to cast them at all yet. That's quite exciting. I've been looking forward to see what they can bring to the table. They've obviously been turning some heads recently, some up and down results. iBuyPower was a bit of a mess for them, but they seem to be getting better and better. They've looked very good online. If you remember Pro League, they managed to finish atop of the table above SK Gaming. So they've definitely got the skill and the tactics need to make it all come together on LAN. And this could be the one. They've already made the playoffs. Can they go another step further? We're getting into Overpass here. It will be SK Gaming side on the T side here. They've got one smoke, 4 flashbangs, a Molotov for Fallen as well. It looks like they'll be heading towards the B side of the map very quickly towards short will be Fur. Mixwell to challenge them though, pushing off towards short. He won't actually be committing at this point. So we will finish up towards B as the CTs have 3 players there. Getting a lot of action on the other side of the wall. In terms of execution potential, smoking towards heaven, Molotov in the barrels looks very likely. As we potentially get into the final commitment here. It's going to be Mixwell and HS, of course, with Freiburg. Very strong B player. Smoke towards heaven, and in we go.
In we go indeed. Taco is going to wrap around behind them. Flashes fully blinded HS, who does get taken down by a headshot indeed. For wraps around to find Mixwell. Now, we were first pitched the ideology behind this team by Freiburg. And if we're going to believe it, we're going to need to see it. Unfortunately, we won't in this round. Down goes Cold Zero and Bolts. Do you want to try saying that word for me? Ideology?
Ideology is the word you should use.
That was what I was trying to say twice.
I liked it though.
My brain on Counter-Strike has slowly dissolved.
It's the first game of the day. It's early. We'll let you off. It's fine. We went to OpTic off though. They couldn't really get anything done there against the B execution. Like I said, the smoke towards heaven, the Molotov of barrels. One flash over. Ali's got a revolver. He's done this twice already. Matthew.
Snacks. What up,
It's
bro?
not a thing.
No, it is a thing.
I know you like
It's not a good thing, but it's a thing.
It's really odd.
And down goes Freiburg. We still have the revolver. Come on, I believe. It's high noon, baby. It's high noon.
It's always high noon.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think it's
Perpetually.
only 11:03 right now.
Yeah, high noon.
That's low noon.
Well, Alu.
Let's go. 1v5.
I'm believing right now. Come on.
Get those right clicks in. Okay, well, you got to bolt
What
it
a
a little bit.
trash weapon that is. Why is he doing that in the quarterfinal?
The trick of it is it's kind of like playing heavy in TF2. You just got to kind of like pre-scroll it.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get it spooled up, get it ready.
So Snacks and Alu are the main offenders right now. You can't change it. For anyone's unaware, you can't swap to a Deagle halfway through a game. Once you start the map, you're committed. You're in.
No, you can technical drop out.
You could drop out the server and change it, which is
that used to happen all the
roundabout.
time with the M4, by the way.
Yeah.
When it first was introduced,
You're
you
not
could have
supposed
weapon
to.
slots. No, you're not at all. But people online would be like, tech pause. They'd come back in like nothing happened, and we'd be like, why does he have a different gun?
Well, for now, no guns. Default pistols. OpTic with no armor, no nades, and SK certainly the favourites going into this one. I think OpTic have gone above and beyond to even get out of the groups right now. Obviously beating G2 and Gambit, that was pretty impressive. Can they go one step further? I'm not so sure against SK. I think they're too drilled. We spoke to Taka before this game started. He said that they've been watching the demos. They're aware how powerful OpTic can be on their day. So that they've got some things prepared. I saw them going over some smokes and set Molotovs to take out the certain positions of OpTic, so that's going to be quite interesting to see how that develops. Obviously, a bonus round going into this one. Number 4, we have 2 MAC-10s, a UMP, a Galil as well. They're trying to save so much money here, but SK will be probably be focusing on an execution towards B. That would make sense. You want to get close range, of course. That's a really tight bomb site. And the first shot from Alu does connect. Takes Caldera down to 16 HP. So that's a good start, at least for OpTic. They have the advantage for now. I'm reckoning it'll be ending on this side of the map. Similar to what we saw on the pistol. Maybe a little more detailed, a few focusing on fragging and actually getting those smokes down, the flashbangs in. And we'll see whether this default will lead into that sort of play. Quite a passive hold from the CTs. As you can see, one kip. They're running out of utility as well. After force buying in a second, you're always going to be struggling. They have the M4s. Only 2 smokes remaining. That's pretty much it.
So Fallen wraps back around, and indeed it does look as though SK will head toward the B site. Minute to work with. If things go wrong, they can backtrack and go over toward A instead. Mixwell and HS, they'll play off of each other. In fact, HS just quickly checks over toward the sandbags once again, but as soon as he spots anyone at Monster, watch for Mixwell to get into the mix. Backs off early a little bit from HS, but at least called, and they were ready. They double up. Now they have to look back to try and find the player Bags because Mixwell's gone down.
Oh.
Good play from HS. Exactly what he had to do. Read the angles well and assessed which threat was more viable. And it's Magisk that closes out the round.
I've been watching HS a little bit on Overpass recently. His B bomb site defense is actually incredibly strong. His rifle is looking very good right now. That round was no different. Holds him off. As we said, it's very likely the basic B execution comes in with those SMGs, but OpTic were ready for that. They managed to hold it off and keep decent numbers up as well. 3 players surviving. No real damage to the economy there. Of course, SK can still buy into round number 5 here. They get the AKs out and fall in with the AWP. This is where the game really begins for OpTic. They need to convert this round to a victory and avoid the reset. Like we said, a lack of utility in the previous round means the reinvestment was quite dear. Mixwell and Majors down to almost 0. It won't be completely broken if they lose this, but it won't be a good situation at all. Mixwell takes a lot of damage there at the very start, down to 28 HP. And he's pushed off. He's going to be exploring the idea of trying to find his first frag. He stands on the railing, so he can't be seen from this certain angle. Taco can't actually spot him while crouching, of course. So that's a smart thing to do. Flashbang comes in. Very scary times for Mixwell, low HP as well. His job right now is get 1 kill before he goes down. He knows at low HP, trade is probably as good as it gets.
Mixwell, good position though. As you say, get 1 kill. Fur already inside of the bathrooms. His home, proverbial home. Bye, Freiburg.
Yeah, just ready and waiting for that. Freiburg trying to get some information. It's starting to go horribly wrong now for the OpTic boys. 5 on 3, but still presence towards short. If we do rotate back towards B, we have a chance. HS very strong with the rifles right now, as we mentioned. This time he's got the AK-47. It's Taco to potentially open the door. They will be focusing on the A site, and looks like we've only got 1 player there, Alu. He has been playing very well. If you saw him yesterday, he looked lights out to close out the game on this very map, and we'll see whether he can step up here. That should be a shot for him, but a bit unfortunate. The door will make noise, and HS will try and catch Taco in transition. He'll do so. He could actually get the double here, but Cold's error.
He actually fell off the edge of the stair. That might have been an even duel otherwise. Mixwell has good position, but again, the 28 HP, nothing he's going to be able to do beyond 1. Cold goes down, Bolts knows where he is, and I think we've got a pause. Now, is this tactical?
No, tactical.
I was going to say, because it wouldn't make sense to do it without guns this early in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looked a little bit odd, Taco's movement there, when he was jumping on the steps, so I think something is happening on his PC. But 4-1, like I said, that is the reset for OpTic, but it's not devastating. They have got HS with 5k, similar sort of story for Freiburg, but overall the money's not looking too good. I think they'll take a partial buy here and buy into the next. So yeah, heads has come off for Fallen, so there's probably a sound issue here, and obviously the in-game leader needs to be having perfect sound and be able to deliver what he has to. He has been commenting on social media like he has had some ear pains with the in-ears. So
yeah, so apparently Big has already done what I suggested to him on Twitter. So in racing, because you're wearing a helmet over top of... You can buy helmets, so my helmet has ear cups built in, so you just plug directly into a jack, and my microphone in the front of my helmet and my earbuds are all connected to that. But some guys, or my ear cups I should say, that they're in the helmet. Some guys run ear plugs because they block out more sound and they're more clear. So what they do is they custom mold them because at the FIA level, especially where they have custom helmets, they're so tight on their head that the more flush the earbud is, the better it is. So the F1 guys all have literally they put Jello inside of their ear and mold it all.
Yes, okay.
Which in this case makes a lot of sense because you've got the same thing. You've got pressure applied due to these noise canceling headsets. And I thought of it a few months ago and thought, oh, it's kind of weird no one does it, but didn't think anything of it. And then when he tweeted that, I suggested it. Apparently Big has a sponsor now that does it.
Oh, that's good.
So they've actually already done their custom molds, which makes sense too because they're German. A lot of the automotive industry is in Germany. A lot of endurance championships, the VLN, a lot of F1 teams, although a lot of them are in the UK, but still have roots in Germany. So, yeah, it would be the same company that probably does a lot of the racing ones. And apparently musicians have custom molds as well for the same reason.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's definitely something I'm sure players will start looking into.
Because you don't feel them. Essentially, they're molded to your ear so they don't deform your ear at all, but you don't even get any pressure either. So it's win-win in both cases.
Well, it looks like this could take a little while. Fallen's headset is still off, and we will have a buy from what I can see. Freiburg's already purchased the FAMAS. And we'll have a look at whether they're going to be going all in here. OpTic ready and waiting. Obviously, you can't really say anything in the technical pauses, so OpTic just have to sit there quietly there. The coach can't really chime in at all. We have had a player drop out, so that is Fallen that's left the server. There's the coach dead. He's actually been playing online for them a little bit recently, top fracking in a couple of games. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, should get underway. You were right in saying that it was Taco that had the issue.
Oh, reloading the round. Okay. Looks like we're okay. I can see Ready's up. I can see Unpause has been dropped in the chat. And we're ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. Round number 6. So, if you're just joining us, it was SK, the runaway with the pistol. The bonus round came in, which is number 4, when you normally keep your MAC 10s or UMPs, for example. And then things can get a little bit dicey at that point. Your objective, not necessarily to win the round, but if you can, it's amazing, just to damage the economy of OpTic. That's exactly what they did. Freiburg did buy a FAMAS originally, but they reset the round, so he's opted for a full eco now, just to note. And we'll see whether they can get anything done. This aggressive play towards middle. Fallen opens things up, but the trade comes through. USP is doing some damage here. Fallen's going to find himself in a bit of a dicey spot, but of course, he pulls out the Glock, gets it done, 5-1. And this is looking quite good for SK. We should have money available now for the OpTic boys. Not amazing cash, made just less than 4K, so he's going to be down to the UMP. Here's a little replay of that Glock action. Do you ever rock out with your Glock out?
Sometimes, usually not. My Glock seems to be a lot smaller than most people, so I don't like to show it off too much.
Yeah, you've got one of those horrible skins on it.
It's really, yeah, it's
nasty.
It's almost got it's got spots on it. It's like, I think it's what do they call it? Field tested or
battle scarred, mate.
Battle scarred. That's it.
Round number 7. UMP comes in. Ali with the AWP. We'll see if he can step up and go toe to toe forward. Not many people can, especially on this map. Taco to challenge towards short. Looking for the jump, of course. We've got a couple of kits available on the CT side. A bit of damage towards Major at the start there. Did for more utility as fur, like he said. King of the bathrooms. Looking for anyone to overextend.
Bolt's ready downstairs. And Magisk walks directly into his crosshair. Down he goes. Taco tries to do the apex jump back toward Monster to see if anyone's pushed through. Doesn't quite get the jump right, but no one has. There's still smoke down on the inside. Flash out for long. Fallen to flash. Cold into position. Again, no one there either. Fallen will get rid of the bomb. Give that to Cold so he can get the op in a position to try and fire down and toward the site.
"30 seconds now, Matt. Smokes will be coming in momentarily. Looks like an A commitment coming through, and Freiburg in that classic one and done position. There's the one, but Alu gets one as well. No trade coming through, so a rare miss there from Fallen. Alu, like I said, he has to be key here in this game, and he gets the second frag. Can't quite nail the third, but the round looks secure. 15 seconds remaining. Cold Zero still alive there, doing damage. So is Taco. Nice shot. They will be able to potentially get the bomb down here. I think we might have a plant coming through. Taco gets it in. It's a 2-on-2 situation with one of the world's best still alive. 12 HP as he finds a WP on the floor here. Both players towards long.
So with bomb ticking, keep in mind that HS is the one that has the kit, but he's also the one that wants to clear the bathrooms early, which means if he goes down in this position, thankfully no one inside of them just yet, it would mean the kit's farther away from Mixwell. That's less of a fact now as HS gets in position, but still goes down. Taco finds him just before he gets back to the stairs. That means Mixwell has to take the fight, can't do it. Taco finds both, and it's 5-1 for SK.
Taco had an abysmal showing yesterday, one of his very, very quiet maps. He's one of the support players not known to have big numbers, but he looked poor yesterday. But that was a very good round from him. That opening kill to take down Alu on the site, excellent. Great awareness as well to go to the bathrooms when his teammate was securing long. They molotov the bomb, managed to come around and find 3 frags. That's excellent from Taco, very well played. And a big round as well. It's going to be sending OpTic to another eco here. They've got PG-50, CZ's no armor, and they'll be stacking towards B, trying to negate the flames. Freiburg, he's burning! Oh no!
That's not
like this.
Yeah, that's a brutal way. That's the worst way to die.
He was dancing around in them. He thought he was safe, but this round is just a calamity.
4 kills for Fur in the end. Taco with the roast. Freiburg's, yeah, rather dismissive of that, I think. Money is massive right now. Fur has 14-9. Cold, interestingly enough, having gone down 3 times, only has 2,700 left over. He's been buying significantly more than anyone else on his team for some strange reason.
Tactical pause.
And needed. I think this was, again, so OpTic Gaming, really poor day 1, didn't make it through the minor, didn't do all too well at iBuyPower. In fact, I think they were...
It was really disappointing.
Yeah,
like it was one of the tournaments they were like one of the favorites to win it, and this is obviously it's going to take time. It's an international lineup, similar sort of vein to what FaZe is trying to achieve, but they don't have the same firepower. They're working with less. There's some inexperienced players as well, obviously the form of HS and to some extent Misswell. We'll see whether they can get rolling here. It's fun to get aggressive towards Shaw.
And that was the point, because day 1 was disappointing as well. Yesterday looked much better, and I knew coming into this game there was a chance they could just get blown out by SK. It is SK after all. You need to bring the A game, and the A game has been inconsistent on LAN. So hopefully they can, as you say, get rolling. Fur's going to back off, played up close to get the sound cues. Bolts will go in direct, but not aware that Mixwell is beside the monster position. When he and HS play those angles, that's when they won their first round, remember. Playing off of each other in correct fashion, and they did so by keeping pretty much everyone alive and doing it. So another chance to do so. Fallen trying to hit the apex jump, can't do it. Freiburg was shuffling accordingly and couldn't get the angle on the second try either.
Well, that B bomb site seems secure. It's Freiburg doing the work with Mixwell there. It's going to be coldzera in the 1 versus 5. He's good, but this is a bit of a stretch. They'll swarm the bomb and make sure everything is defended. They won't want to give him any sort of entry into this round. A nice positioning from Magis guarantees the clean sweep there. See, the coach is happy at that one. It's going to be Freiburg, who's always been very good at the B-bomb side, I think. Alu opened things up. He needs to be dynamic here. He can't be stale and go in the same position every single time. This time, open things up, going towards B. And here's Freiburg with the backstab, comes unblind and manages to get that big frag there. Really well played, as he took down Fallen at the same time as well. 7-2. Reset, again, not a massive issue, but the fact they only have 2 capable players, they'll still be low if they lose this round of anyone, well, no one surviving, I should say. Well, for Alu, he explores towards middle this time. Still a full buy for SK Gaming. Starting to be whittled down though. coldzera of almost no utility. Similar story for Fur. He's got the smoke molotov, no flashbangs. This will probably be that final buy. This is a best of 3 for anyone who's just joining us. We're obviously in the quarterfinals at this stage. Got a nice little boost there from Shaw. We're seeing a lot of aggro from the CTs from the B bomb side, trying to open up kills. You can see that player on top watches towards the connector. Flashbang goes in though. Taco looking for 2. They'll get the trade by the looks of things, and Mixwell goes down. That's the B bomb side now in a very precarious situation as Freiburg has to hold it by himself. M4 in hand. Utility flying in.
So HS not in this position, having already gone down. It's Freiburg's turn to step up. Takes the wide angle to hold bags, which essentially exposes him to Monster as well. Thankfully, they didn't push in at that time, but it ultimately doesn't matter. He goes down either way. It's Alu inside of the site with Magisk taking out Bolts. That'll save it because his timing on peeking out from the doorway has made it down, brought it down to a 2 versus 2. Good play by Magisk as a result. Very good on the CT side traditionally, but certainly struggling, as is the whole team, to get rolling now. And he's going to get a lot closer to the site, and Cold is going to absolutely remove him from the round, as Alu now finds himself with an AWP and no kit trying to retake against Cold and Fallen. Good luck, my friend.
Yeah, this is going to be very difficult. You might consider saving, but he's made the noise now that he's dropped down. They'll be aware of that. coldzera knows he's got the advantage here. Alu can't pre-aim every single angle. Takes him down. That was almost an impossible clutch value, I'd say. I think the saving the orb might have been the best call, but he was trying to go for it. They have got a reset in front of them now. Tactical balls coming in again for OpTic. They're getting a lot of pressure applied to them at this point. Every round they win, they lose a subsequent, and then it's just a nightmare situation. It's so difficult, especially against a team like SK Gaming, when you're getting no momentum whatsoever. 2 rounds on the board, it's slipping away, and on the CT side as well. Have a look at the scoreboards while we have this tactical timeout. Alu top of the charts for OpTic. 5 kills for him. Similar story for Magisk as well. Those are the 2 players I pointed out at the start of the game. Those 2 need to step up here. They're the stars of this team. Alu's been doing a decent job of getting opening picks, but haven't necessarily been converted every single time. Fur at the top, of course, for SK Gaming. 13 kills for him, 5 deaths. Taco having a very good game out. I like to celebrate when the support players have strong performances as well, because it's easy to point out when he's got a low amount of frags. He's actually been playing very well indeed and having some very high impact at the start of rounds.
Flash quickly toward the bathrooms in case the CTs were trying to push up and get the aggressive positions. 8-2 for SK. And Bolts down below. Okay, fair enough. Good trade for Magisk. I was going to say has an easy time taking down Alu to start it off, but now they'll clear not only the hallway, but water as well.
I'm liking the assertive play from OpTic. I'll give them that. They're not sitting back and resting on their laurels. They're actually hunting for information and willing to challenge the SK players, which is not easy, let me tell you. It's Freiburg, though. He's in a spot of bother here on the A side. Not much he can do about that. UMP is the worst weapon in that potential situation as he gets taken down by Fur. And it will be a 4-on-2 like that. So they tried to force buy into this round and push off a little bit more, get aggressive, try and catch a terrorist out of position. But Fur, with that aggressive play, Madness into the bathrooms, finds the first kill, rails the second on the bomb site. Nothing that OpTic can really do about that. They didn't have the firepower nor the utility to hold it off. And it will be another round for SK Gaming and potentially another eco as OpTic try and hold on to the M4 and the Famas here.
Flash bounced off. Taco forced back. Maxwell starts to walk in from Monster with an M4. Taco still holding off to make sure they aren't going to get out of the sight, and as he does, Fur will start to wrap around behind and take the guns away from them. So they are pursuing, and doing so, look at this, they're entirely trapped inside of the site. Everywhere they go is locked down. Cold's watching Monster, Fur's walking in. Even if they get one, which they do, okay, HS gets it back. I was going to say he should be taken down because they'll be in position, but Taco's not ready. So fair play, he does at least get an AK, but round again to SK to make it 9-2.
Well, they get an AK-47. It's HS, one of the stronger riflers for OpTic. We'll see if he can have any sort of impact with the AK. But we'll see. They've been stacking towards B on their eco situations, sometimes pushing middle as well. Maybe they set up the human shield for him and allow him to try and tap away with the AK. It should be an almost guaranteed round there for SK. Default pistols for 3 players. May just brings out the P250. Round number 12, getting to the bookend now of the first half. OpTic not having the best time yet. Made to the fate of HS. Down to 60 health. Fur again. He's just so confident getting to the bathrooms. He doesn't even flash it. He just walks in, helps himself do it. Cold Zero now to find the kills required. He'll probably go down here. Nice little distraction play there, but Mixwell just has no idea. Fur's on the A site already. So frustrating to play against him. He bullies people on this map.
Taco swinging in. Good find. HS down. That's the AK carried over. Alu still does have work with, excuse me, as Taco gets the shot onto him as well. It's all gone in the way of SK. I think this game's looking rather one-dimensional at this point.
Gotta believe, man.
Yeah, okay, maybe. What do you think of the new Ghost Invulnerability?
Sorry, what?
When, like, in deathmatch and stuff, they've changed the way that the characters look when they're invulnerable. Yeah, they
get
do
like
it
transparent
around here. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I have seen that.
Translucent, I think, more.
Translucent, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't played it, I don't know. Sounds okay, I guess.
It's one of those irrelevant things, but it's just, I'm just curious, you know.
I'll check it out. I'm going to be at home next week.
I'm trying to create conversation. We don't talk much, you know. I don't see you very often. Oh, wow. That nade actually bounced so perfectly. But just thankfully only gets taken down to 72. Now he'll be tagged to 10, though, as Fur backs away. Could have gone much worse, all things considered. Still contest for the ground of the hallway, and look how passive OpTic's gone.
They have to be, really. They don't have the AWP now. They have no kids, so they've tried with the aggressive stuff towards short. They're only trading out a kill each time. It's not good enough. It's not working. I think they have to concentrate on the crossfires. That's when they're doing their best work. When the final commitment's coming from SK, especially towards that B site, that's when OpTic are getting the kills they need. That's where HS and Freiburg can work together, and we'll see if that works out. This is what they're doing again. So you can see HS, Mixwell together on that B side. And it's going to be Taco to show some presence towards that side of the map. Mage has already been taken down to 10 HP. They are having a really rough time here. Little to no utility. They've got 4 flashbangs and 1 smoke. And Fallen just dissecting them out piece by piece. They have Long A under their control. Bathrooms as well. And they'll head back towards B from what I can see on the minimap. Looks like the bombs are T-steps right now. And Indeed, Fallen will head towards that side of the map, and that's where OpTic have been their strongest. That's the play there. Will it be a contact approach where you're just walking to the site and challenge frags, or we're going to drop the utility and go for an execution? Looks like it's the latter. In we go.
We go indeed. Mixwell limited in his movement based on the flames down. Needs to try and get a read. That gap is always so tantalizing, but never really pays off, and it certainly doesn't this time either as Mixwell gets preoccupied with it. Taco is able to swing in.
Yeah, he's hitting everything today. It's going to be a clean round. Like I said, no kids going into it. 9 seconds when the bomb went planted, and HS, he had nothing to say about that one. Mixwell tried his best to even get one frag, just cowering in the corner. Taco says no, and all 5 players will survive for SK here. OpTic, in terms of the loss bonus, will be a 4th stage after this one. Need to try and save all these weapons, but look who's coming for them. It's Fur, and he's mad. He'll take everyone down. Fallen chimes in as well.
Not hard, to be fair, to kill the second player based on his HP, but it's a pretty good transfer.
But just the positioning of it all. Just they have no idea what's possible. It's just so demoralizing. We're just trying to, okay, can we just save some weapons now? You can't even do that. Are we forcing again? Yeah, we are. OpTic are just, they're crushed right now. They need these last 2 rounds, right? They can't go in with even 12-3 won't be good enough against SK. They need the 11-4. Take a gamble, but this map feels like it's coming to its logical conclusion. OpTic just haven't turned up today. SK, they look fantastic, just to note. Everything's going well. Hitting all the shots, teamwork's on point, basic executions there. Defaults are getting map control. OpTic just don't have a reply. Here we go.
Jisk takes out Cold Zero with the Famasa boost outside, though. So they get the start they want for OpTic, finally, the opening pick, and Magisk survives, only just with 13 HP. But both boosted, and they managed to turn in time. Fur finds Mixwell pushing through. That could have been amazing for Mixwell if they weren't considerate of the position, of the possibility. Now it's Taco, and Taco going aggressive. That does have HS fully blind. Freiberg's able to take down Bolt, but he has to backpedal into the site. Plays on the inside of the smoke, and with the UMP, he wants to swing, but can't quite do so accurately enough. Low HP on both Taco and Fur. Surely they've got to collect. But Fallen's still alive. How dare I suspect otherwise?
The thing is, Alu might be able to get 1 kill here. That had to connect, and now Taco will blow his head off. I've got the scout. It was another forced by situation. They'll be into the exact same sort of mentality here as we go into round number 15. This has not delivered in terms of a quarterfinal so far. It's the first map. It's best of 3. And we'll see whether OpTic can resurrect himself in number 2, but this is just looking very one-sided right now. But as we always say, Matt, it's one of those games where, sure, you got battered in the first map, but you can always bring it back in the second. This one isn't even over yet. We are maybe potentially getting a bit ahead of ourselves, but 13-2 against SK, I don't see them recovering it. Ali's brought out the Scout Revolver combo. It's a classic. Tried and tested. I prefer a Scout PT50 on this, because if you get the Scout tag, you want to bring out fast-paced tapping, not the Revolver. That's going to be a nightmare.
Alu backs off for finds him. Freiberg does respond, at least, to bring it to 4 versus 4.
Oof. Can hear the shotgun going off.
Yeah, echoing out. Mixwell was pushed up inside of water, but I don't think there was anyone actually near the door. Just again. Oh, behind the pillar. Taco.
He's looking great, isn't he?
They've got families,
what a
man.
turnaround.
And Magisk is behind him, so at least that to salvage, so he'll finally go down.
The thing is, now they know there's 2 players on B, so they'll be making a hard commitment towards the A site here. It's poor old Freiberg, who's getting it done, to be fair. Famous, low HP, trying to hold them off. He'll get 1, but Cold Zera, he's having none of that. Bomb will be planted momentarily. Fallen's coming for them wrong. We've got 1 kit available and a couple of rifles here. Good nade. And I'll see whether they can get anything out of this round. Mixwell, low HP, might just push the smoke here and see what's available to him. I don't think much at all. Cold Zera just so aware as to what could be coming. No utility for the CTs.
Cold. Wait, oh, sees both. Surely he saw both in that position, but goes down. Double peek. It's a trade, though. He actually did get Magisk, so Mixwell on 1 HP has to go against Fallen on the AWP. And that's
try his best.
A pretty easy shot, you have to say. SK looking more like they did on day 1, looking more like what you would expect from the world's best if they are to maintain that rank after this event. And OpTic back to struggles on LAN.
Yeah, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. They look okay with the situation, and we'll find out if they can do anything after the break.
Well, SK are dominant, and so too are Fur and Taco. 161 and 125 ADR respectively, and it's been pretty one-sided.
It's just an interesting note, little tidbit for you. When I went onto the server, I'm connected directly, right? I'm looking at the chat. When they joined, Alu said, guys, how's it going? The first thing Fallen said is, Taco is feeling good today. He's going to play well. And he was right. He managed to step up.
He did seem confident when we saw him this morning. Rather
like,
boisterous.
That's the first thing Fallen said. Like, Taco is back today. So he's absolutely right. Taco 18 kills. That's not top fragging, but it's surprising for him to have that sort of performance. And here we go towards short. Fast play, and coldzera finds 3 beautiful headshots there. What in God's name was that? They're over. It looks like it's going to be OpTic. They have to fall back and concede the round by the looks of things.
That's pretty cool, too, because Taco got in their face, so all of their aim was away from the boosted spot. Typically, you're pre-aiming that walking through the short pipe, and Taco runs up, goes down, and Cold just lines them up. Pretty sick.
Well,
you're right, Taco's had a slow start, though, so this is it's interesting that was predicted by Fallen.
That was kind of nuts from coldzera.
Do you think that's like passive-aggressive from Fallen? Like, Taco's feeling good, he will play good today.
I guess so,
As he stares at Taco, like, you young man, you do your job.
Quite possibly. Well, that's coldzera. Sending them to school there, I'm afraid. It'll be Freiburg and Alu trying to do what they can here. And coldzera is not done just yet. He's angry, and he's looking for his 4th. Surely he gets it as well. There it is, headshot. Oh, he's just bullying them. It's going to be Freiburg. coldzera wants the ace. Of course he does.
It's Freiburg in a 1 versus 3.
Just running from Cold.
Yeah, pretty much. I would too. Cold's taking Freiburg down 14 rounds, SK already.
Not even that hyped. He's enjoying himself, isn't he? Let's have a look at this.
Pretty sick.
See you later. Well, that sets the tone for the second half.
That, I mean, certainly does. Just sitting there waiting.
And he's like not even done then, he's just chasing them. They're running away down the hallways. Oh, there has to be a force buy here. 14-2. This hasn't really been the game we were looking for here. And OpTic managed to beat G2 yesterday. Send them packing, and they're a team that's still developing. And for now, looking quite good in this round at least. If we run number 17 here, and they'll push through and trade frags down to a 3-on-3. To recover any sort of weaponry when Fallen spots all 3 players and baits him into coldzera. He plays that position so often, and it works every single time.
Map point already, SK on 15, OpTic with only 2, I'm afraid. It's not exactly been the start you would want in a quarterfinal.
It's not great.
Yeah.
But it's a best of 3 map. And the revolver's out again.
Come on, Alu. Silence this Henry Goon guy.
I might have to do a podcast about the revolver.
This, by the way, Valve's known
so
for
mad.
graffitis. This is an accurate depiction of SK disposing of OpTic on this map.
Yeah, they added it in on the fly.
They did.
Yeah, dropped it in there.
Well, either way, it starts off the way we'd expect with guns up and Fallen on the
coming.
AWP.
Look it up.
It is coming. Yes, it's still not being pre-bolted, and I'm not exactly sure what to expect because he's just blocked it.
What a weapon.
God damn. Henry loves it.
Oh, I can't.
Secretly, Henry has it equipped, guys. Don't be fooled. 16-2, all 5 stay alive. No surprise. OpTic, brush this one off, head outside. Enjoy that fresh rays of sunshine from the LA skyline, if you will, because it's going to have to be needed and restored for the next map. They have to brush this off immediately.
Yeah, not good enough, and we'll take a break and see what the analysts have to say after this.
Thanks so much, boys. Yes, Henry triggered as always. Alu unable to frag, and OpTic unable to do anything really in that game. Shutout of SK's map pick in our first quarterfinal here for IEM Oakland.
You guys have heard me say this time and time again. A quick game's a good game.
Yeah, I mean, not for OpTic fans. The Green Wall struggling.
See, Alex, the thing is, I think the revolver plays next level, right? So just bear through. But it can be a double-edged sword, right? So
Talk me through it.
on one side of things, you're losing. Like, the game is lost. You're getting destroyed. Like, the morale is at an all-time low, right? But you roll out the revolver, get a cheeky or 2, not 1 digs, I guess.
One roll, one revolve.
One rolls, right?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, ha, 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 that's so good. And then it brings a smile to everyone's face. But also it can kind of encapsulate the defeat in itself. And it's like you look at Talo with the revolver and you're like, what is going on here even? What are we doing? Why is this our life?
You're really reaching with that one, I think, Yanko.
Listen, there's
no
not much to talk
positivity.
about
No, there is.
during the game itself.
There is. What sucks more in Counter-Strike than being on the CT side, winning a round and copping that hard reset? There isn't anything worse. There's nothing worse. You know, you have a round, it's a close round, maybe you got 2 or 3 guys survive. You're like, yeah, we got one. And then they just roll on in.
Is there a particular round number you're referring to?
The way you put it, Chad, it's not just in Counter-Strike, just in life.
Yeah, that hard reset.
That hard reset.
There was
round 7, maybe?
Round 7. There was a 2v4 from Taco and Cold that came out, and this is where Taco had, you know, a lot of impact. It's great to see him getting a chance to pad some stats because he's obviously had a rough tournament thus far. But in terms of this round, the way it plays out, that is a huge shot first and foremost. Taco doesn't even get, Other doesn't even get a chance to react.
But this round also shows something that's been the problem for OpTic throughout the CT side is they don't play together on the CT side, especially towards that A site, you know. Why is Freiburg still far up towards long when they're in a 4v2 situation? You know, you just have a 1v1 fight. That's something you want to avoid when you have the numbers advantage, and once they plant the bomb, they have the upper hand.
I really like the potential for this after plant scenario. It's just a shame Cold Zero missed the Molotov, but with that plant, you know, from long, he can throw it from safety and stop them from defusing. But Taka going ham, grabbing 3 in that 2v4, and it's pretty nice to see.
And the disjointed A defense happened a couple of times. You know, you see Magic alone in connector, and Aloy is all the way back towards the A bomb site, and that's already, you know, 30, 40 seconds have passed in the round. His best case scenario is that he only sees one guy there, gets a kill, and somehow gets into a flanking position. But that's such a huge gamble. When you play against SK, you really don't want to take go together, maybe both, like they did in the last round versus G2 that we just saw, right? Play aggressive and have Alu supporting you, and then you at least have a fighting chance.
A fighting chance indeed, and you know what? Pistols would have certainly enhanced their fighting chance. Cold did its very best to take that away from them, though, especially in the more towards that second one. OpTic, we kind of said strong starts. This was not one of them.
Yeah, this definitely wasn't one of them. And this kind of round here reminds me of, if there's any hardcore fans out there, remember Edward jumping on that box on Tuscan and mowing down Fnatic on mid. That little boost there, just bang, bang, bang. Very nice quick kills.
Good night.
Obviously, that was an ace.
To be honest, this felt like, you know, Fur and Taco were having like an amazing game, especially Taco, considering his general performance, right, in this tournament in particular. And second pistol round starts, and Cold is just like, I'm going to remind you guys who the best player in the world is. Just so you know, the daddy's still here, and every chance of a comeback is killed right then and there.
It's so funny here. The rest of the team is, after he gets this fourth kill, which is a struggle and a half to actually make this kill, but when he gets it, the rest of the CT players are just moving away so he can get the ace. They're giving him a chance. He's chasing down the kill when he's looking for Freiburg, but this here is just you're like,
it's coming. There we go.
And then he just eventually chases down Freiburg, and the rest of his teammates are moving away so he can actually make the frag. Boltz probably gave up his life there intentionally. He said, "You can have it, Cold. You can have this ace." There haven't been many this tournament.
Look at them all, just giving him time.
Like, getting Cold. Yeah, boy. The problem here is, you know, obviously not that much to talk about the game in itself, but coming into Overpass, right, it's a CT-sided map. But when you play the first game of the day in a best-of-3, I think SK was perfectly happy to start off on the T side, especially as a favorite, right? You dictate the pace of the game. You can go for that bullying style early on that we definitely saw from Fur first and foremost. And then once you get that early reset, that's where you kind of know if you're SK, you're cruising through this game. You know, you're at 6-7-1 up against a team like OpTic. They did try later on to be more aggressive, but the problem is they just couldn't string rounds together. And for SK, it was just a walk in the park, basically.
Yeah, and of course, the first map was Overpass SK's pick. If you wanted to refresh your memory, we are going into Inferno next, and we'll be talking mostly about that after the break. But you can just kind of start to feel a sense of panic for all OpTic fans. I mean, can we just forget about that? Outside now, they're in the Cali sun. You're just going to go, right?
The problem is they lost in such a dominant fashion. They didn't really get into the game at all. While SK is feeling amazing. And now they start on the CT side of Inferno. So Inferno, it's not necessarily like CT or T sided. In my opinion, it's economy sided. Like whoever has control of the economy, if you have that on the T side, you can have a great half. But great economy requires a strong start or just getting momentum in consecutive gun rounds. It's very difficult to see OpTic doing that after being completely demolished on Overpass.
We'll be talking more about Inferno then and OpTic's chances, as bleak as they may look after a destructive Overpass performance from SK Gaming. They are one map away from the Oracle Arena. Join us after the break to see if they can do it.